Good evening, everyone. New Orleans took 2 giant steps in getting back to business today. Its airport reopened to commercial flights, and its port received the first cargo shipment since Hurricane Katrina devastated the Big Easy. The slow signs of recovery came amid promises from the White House and FEMA to learn from their mistakes and intensify their efforts to help the victims. As we continue our ongoing series, Recovering from Katrina, Washington Bureau Chief Darren Gersh says the government is already on the lookout for fraud.
Homeland Security Chief Michael Chertoff sounded like a man trying to strike the right balance between chasing down fraud and helping out victims of Hurricane Katrina.
The message has gone out very clearly to everybody that we're going to be efficient, we're going to cut through red tape, but we're not going to cut through the laws and the rules that govern ethics.
Congress has already given the FEMA Inspector General's office an extra $15 million to be a watchdog over disaster assistance spending. So far, the record is mixed at best. In Florida, after Hurricane Francis hit last year, investigators found FEMA may have given out $30 million to individuals who suffered little or no damage. The federal government's performance now will largely depend on the private sector, since FEMA hires contractors to evaluate and process claims for individual losses.
So FEMA's role is not actually doing the inspections themselves, but the oversight and sort of quality assurance of that program. But it doesn't actually go out and make the inspections, make the decisions about what people ought to get.
In cleaning up after Katrina, the potential for waste, fraud, and abuse is enormous. FEMA will easily spend 10 times as much money than on any previous disaster. And in many cases, the neediest victims may not have a driver's license or other critical documents normally required to verify eligibility for government benefits.
I think we're going to err on the side of getting the money to the people that need it with some level of dignity, and we'll kind of worry about the consequences after the fact. But I think also from this we will develop some real processes at all levels of the organization for making sure that waste, fraud, and abuse are minimized in the future.
Some experts in emergency management say the amount of fraud uncovered after previous natural disasters has been small compared with the scale of devastation. Even so, every dollar stolen or wasted is a dollar not available to help real victims. Darren Gersh, Nightly Business Report, Washington.
A flurry of building activity in the wake of Hurricane Katrina is going to put a squeeze on building supplies. The National Association of Realtors estimates that the destruction brought by the storm along the Gulf Coast will worsen an already short supply of building materials. The group estimates Katrina will spark the construction of more than 130,000 additional homes this year. Analysts say that combination of scarce materials and low mortgage rates will kick up housing prices across the country.
In light of the Katrina and the need for heavy concentrated rebuilding efforts that will put additional price pressure, we anticipate, for example, price of lumber to be roughly 10 to 20% higher in light of this, and hence push up some of the new home prices.
The realtors estimate that Katrina caused about $100 billion in property losses. They say the storm could slow economic growth in the short term, but lift the economy once rebuilding gets underway.
Economic growth may already be hampered by high gasoline prices. They're to blame for a sharp increase in wholesale inflation last month. The producer price index surged 0.6% in August after rising a full percent in July. Factor out energy and food, and the core rate remained unchanged. In a separate report, the trade deficit fell 2.6% in July to $57.9 billion, despite oil imports reaching an all-time high. Economists say the trade picture will be volatile in the months ahead for one key reason.
It was good news for the beginning of the third quarter in the U.S., but the problem once again comes back to Katrina. And Katrina is going to impact the trade numbers and distort them in massive ways, starting at the September numbers and moving into October and basically for the remainder of the fourth quarter.
Those inflationary concerns about the fourth quarter put Wall Street into full retreat this morning, as did a shortfall in Best Buy's earnings, which we'll detail later. In a steady sell-off, the Dow fell 80 points by noontime when the Nasdaq index was down 13. Stocks remain broadly lower this afternoon on profit-taking and growing concerns about Katrina's impact on the economy. Dow Industrial Average closed off 85.5 points at 10,597.44. The Nasdaq Composite was down 11 points to 2171.75. Standard & Poor's 500 index fell 9 1/3 points, ending at 1231.20. In the bond market, the 10-year note rose 12 seconds to par and 31 seconds, lowering the yield to 4.13%. Shares of Northwest Airlines lost more than half their value, falling $1.74 to a new record low at $1.57 after published reports said it could file for Chapter 11 as early as tomorrow. And late today, the carrier said it has not made $42 million in scheduled financing payments because it may opt to use those funds if it seeks to restructure. It also faces a $65 million pension contribution due Thursday. Meanwhile, shares of Delta Airlines also spiraled downward to a new record low as investors brace for its widely anticipated bankruptcy filing. That's expected to come tomorrow or Thursday. Analysts say Delta will likely shrink if it files for reorganization, trimming capacity by about 15%. Shares today closed down 7 cents at 78 cents.
Things are going better for another airline executive, Sir Richard Branson. He's the CEO of Virgin Atlantic Airways, just one of 300 companies he founded under his Virgin label. His company, Virgin Group, is a $12 billion empire in a vast array of businesses, including music, cell phones, railways, beverages, and hotels. When I talked with Branson this morning, I asked him what's his next big thing.
The most exciting new thing that Virgin's got on is Virgin Galactic Airways, which is space travel. And we're building 5 spaceships. They'll be ready in 2.5 years' time. And that will enable people to be able to go into space, not exactly cheaply. I mean, it costs about $200,000 a flight, but far, far, far more cheaply than it's ever been done in the past.
Now, Mr. Branson, I understand you're also considering building an oil refinery. Now, why would you want to do that when it costs a lot of money, it takes many years, and do you really want to get into the oil business?
The last thing I want to do is build an oil refinery, but the oil companies are not building oil refineries. So what we're trying to do is get a consortium together to get at least one built. I actually think that governments should step in. They should tax the oil companies, do a windfall tax on the oil companies, and put all that money into building 10, 15 oil refineries. If they did do that, oil prices would come down dramatically.
I imagine one of your motivations is that you run Virgin Atlantic Airways, and right with the rising jet fuel prices. Are you still excited about running an airline given high oil prices and all the difficulties in the airline industry?
Well, Virgin Atlantic Airways, I suppose, is my baby, although she's now 21 years old. She's something that I'm enormously proud of her. She's grown into a beautiful 21-year-old. You
say it was your baby. I mean, are you still excited about running an airline given all the problems that the industry faces?
Yes, I mean, Virgin Atlantic Airways is a quality airline, and we're profitable, and because we're a quality product. We've just set up we set up a new airline in Australia, Virgin Blue. It's gone extremely well. We're just helping Nigeria set up a national airline called Virgin Nigeria. We're going to set up an airline in America called Virgin America.
Where does this airline in the U.S. stand, and why do you want to get in this very crowded, competitive market in the U.S.?
The reason we want to get into the American market is that there's only 1, maybe 2 decent airlines in America. The big airlines are not much fun to fly on. So it sounds like a strange time to go into the airline business when everyone's losing a fortune. Actually, in some ways, that's the time to as an entrepreneur to go in to a business when other people are quite weak, on their knees, in trouble. But that's time to go in with a really good quality product, and I think you can do well out of it.
Let's talk a little bit about the music business. You run a music empire, and here we are in a Virgin megastore. Are you concerned at all about how you're going to grow this business, given that so many people are downloading music?
Yeah, if you can't beat them, join them. We just launched Virgin Digital, which is basically a rival to iTunes. Our mega stores, we have to accept that they will change because downloading music is going to mean less people in time buying the physical product. So we've gone into the mobile phone business, and we've got space in the stores selling mobile phones. We love the stores; they're flagship stores. People still actually like to buy the physical product, so I don't think that the decline is going to be dramatically quick. But we have to reinvent ourselves.
You have Virgin Atlantic, you have Virgin Megastores, Virgin Hotels, Virgin Mobile, Virgin Cola, Virgin everything. Are you at all concerned that by developing all of these new companies that you're spreading your brand name a little too thin?
I think as long as every time we do something new, it's quality, it's perceived as quality. It's people when they come into when they fly on Virgin, they have a great experience. When they come into a megastore, they're served by friendly people. When they use a mobile phone, they know it's good value and so on. Then we can carry on expanding the brand.
What about taking Virgin Group public? Why aren't you a public company?
I'll never take our top company public. We may take individual companies public. And I suppose the reason not to have the top company public is, I can announce that I'm doing space travel and not see my share price fall through the floor. I can, be a record company and say I'm going to the airline business and not see my share price fall through the floor, which is exactly what would have happened, I think, if we'd been public.
Well, looking at your career, you've made you've thrived by breaking all the rules and taking all of the risks. What is your business philosophy? What makes you tick?
I mean, I love learning about new things. I love, I like having fun. I like, I like exploring. I never went to university. In a sense, my business career has been one long university education. It's been learning about the music business. It's been learning about the airline business. It's been learning about, refineries, and it's just living life to its full.
Mr. Branson, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks a lot.
Investors apparently thought Best Buy wasn't such a good buy on Wall Street today. They dumped shares of the electronics retailer after it reported earnings that fell short of what analysts had expected. Best Buy made 37 cents a share. That was a penny shy of estimates, but it also guided lower for the third quarter. It's now expecting profits of 28 to 32 cents a share. Best Buy says its numbers were hurt by costs that rose more than expected. And Paul, that's partly due to the fact that the retailer is in the process of overhauling its stores.
Well, as you mentioned, the stock got overhauled today, Susie, and we'll see it in a moment as we take a look at our stocks in the news tonight. Volume leader on the big board, 20 million shares traded. Nokia moving up 74 cents. The company raised its third quarter earnings outlook due to better than expected sales in Europe. Then came Best Buy, plunging $5.57. You just heard the news on that one. Time Warner, 23-cent loss. Motorola bucked the trend, up 61 cents. Lucent Technologies, fifth in big board volume, was down 4 cents. General Electric lost 15 cents. Citigroup edging up 9 cents. Pfizer fell 36 cents. Pfizer said the FDA has failed to approve its osteoporosis drug called Oporia. Co-developer Ligand Pharmaceutical stock fell 61 cents to $8.19. Then came Texas Instruments with a gain of 85 cents. Semiconductors strong today. And Walmart down 82 cents. Workers in 6 countries have filed a class action suit claiming Walmart overlooks sweatshop conditions at toy and clothing factories all the way from China to Nicaragua. Procter & Gamble fell $1.02. Bear Stearns cut first quarter earnings estimate by 2 cents down to 75 cents, due in part to the impact of Katrina on its coffee business. Then the big newspaper company Knight Ridder off $3.44. Knight Ridder says third quarter operating earnings will be down about 20% from a year ago, and Prudential cut its price target by $8 a share down to $61, just about where it is. Gannett, another publishing company, down $2.37. The company's August operating revenue fell 4.5% compared to a year ago. Kansas City Southern, the railroad company, and its Mexican subsidiary settled a dispute with the Mexican government regarding value-added tax refunds to the TFM Railway, which Kansas City Southern bought earlier this year. Dow Jones lost 91 cents. UBS Financial downgraded it from neutral to reduced, saying that the near-term prospects are not good for financial and technology advertising. Freeport-McMoRan copper and gold off $1.94. The company cut its expected third quarter copper sales from Indonesia. The forecast is cut by 10.5%, and the forecast for gold sales cut by 20%. all from its Indonesian operations. Joann's stores fell $1.23. Chief Financial Officer Brian Carney has resigned, and so did General Counsel Valerie Sachs. They went to other firms, apparently. And SRA International, that's an IT consulting firm, mostly to the government, the stock to be added to the Standard & Poor's 500 Midcap 400 Index on a date to be announced. It'll replace Integrated Circuit Systems, which is being acquired. Volume leader on NASDAQ, Google, up $1.94. A judge has ruled that Google can hire a former Microsoft executive to head its Chinese Research and Development Center, so long as he does not recruit from Microsoft. Baidu in there with a nice gain of $1.34, and then Microsoft itself down 13 cents. Intel dropped 9 cents. Cisco Systems, fifth in dollar volume, lost 23 cents a share. Apple Computer down 58 cents. Seabell System, which is being taken over by Oracle, up 7 cents. eBay, 66-cent drop, and Oracle itself up 15 cents. Yahoo, 10th in volume, up 39 cents. Majesco Entertainment losing almost 50% of its value today. After the close yesterday, the company cut its 2005 revenue estimate from about $125 million all the way down to $65 million, and it boosted its loss forecast from $19 million to as much as $45 million. And then over on the American exchange, Baycorp Holdings up 43%. Sloan Group Limited will acquire this company for $14.19 a share in cash. And those are the stocks in the news tonight. Susie?
Paul, it's an age-old question for working women. How do you balance careers and family and ensure that you have enough time for both? More and more women in the American workplace are finding a new answer. Tonight, our home economist, Brett Graff, takes a look at the growing trend towards what's called flex time.
You just have been made to your contract.
For 16 years, Tracy Nichols has been a recruiter at Cross Country Staffing in Palm Beach, Florida. 4 years ago, she decided to spend more time with her 3 sons. Rather than quit her job, she gave half of it away. Now she works just Thursdays, Fridays, and alternate Wednesdays.
And I started here when I was 21 or 22, and now I'm 38. So a lot of us are really growing old together, and we're seeing our families evolve, and people are happier. People want to come to work.
Nichols' boss estimates that 15% of the firm's 450 employees choose a flexible work schedule, and she's one of them, spending Mondays at home caring for her family.
When we hire people, they are amazed at the culture of this company. And, you know, we're a 450 employee organization, so it's not like we have 20 employees and this is just easy to accommodate, onesie-twosies. They're amazed that we actually do this.
Heidi Kramer's situation doesn't reveal her role as a pioneer. Kramer manages 9 people at a local electric utility, working 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., just in time for after-school pickup. But 9 years ago, Kramer broke new ground at her company, coming up with a flexible work schedule and making it work well.
I realized that I really needed to convince management that this was going to work. I knew that it was going to work for me, but how could I make this work for the company? And that's when I decided I really needed help with that. I needed to see what other companies have done this before me.
In July, the Labor Department reported that over 27 million workers had flexible hours, and a growing number of workers were choosing non-traditional shifts in the evenings or overnight. Many, like emergency room physician Dr. Barbara Pena, say it keeps the days free for family.
Basically, I work evenings and nights, and I do it because I feel like I can have the best of both worlds that way. I can be at home with my kids during the day, and at night I can do my job. The downside is being perpetually tired.
Living a dual life has its downside.
What are you doing?
Take freelance reporters. The paychecks are erratic. Toddlers are attracted to the computer's power light and can't differentiate mom's work time and playtime.
Truth be told, same is true for mom. And while the workforce is still unforgiving to a lot of moms, there are women who do find they're fulfilled personally and professionally.
This has to be the best thing.
It's worked out great for 9 years.
I feel like I have it all. Absolutely.
Brett Graff, Nightly Business Report, Home Economist.
Tomorrow, when it comes to mortgages, no interest certainly doesn't mean no problems.
Tonight's commentator is looking at Louisiana in the wake of Hurricane Katrina. Here's Daniel Henninger, deputy editor of the editorial page of the Wall Street Journal.
New Orleans is going to be rebuilt. It may not be the same Big Easy that preceded Katrina, but this most southern of cities will rise again. The problem is, too many people want to lay hands on the patient. Planners, politicians, and profiteers all have ideas on how to revive this famous American city. Well, this past weekend marked the anniversary of September 11th, and the people gathered at Ground Zero saw what happens when the politicians and planners gain control of a major rebuilding project. The space once occupied by the World Trade Center towers is still nothing but a hole in the ground. Maybe there's a better way than politics as usual to rebuild devastated New Orleans. Let the market decide. By that I mean the real market of creative, tireless, and determined individuals, the kind of people who created some of our greatest cities in the 19th century. Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, New York. These cities flourished when they became centers of commerce and new economic activity. To do that now, we should turn New Orleans and perhaps all of Louisiana into a vast enterprise zone. Liberate Louisiana for 10 years from federal capital gains taxes, corporate taxes, and even workers' payroll taxes. Anything that gets in the way of reviving New Orleans' economy should be set aside for the next 10 years. The politicians and planners won't like this idea, which is why we should give it a try. I'm Dan Henninger.
Recapping today's market action, stocks end lower on continuing concerns about Hurricane Katrina's impact on the economy. The Dow loses 85 points, the Nasdaq Composite slides 11 points. To learn more about the stories in tonight's broadcast, go to nbr.com.
And that's Nightly Business Report for Tuesday, September 13th. I'm Susie Garib. Good night, everyone, and good night to you, Paul.
Good night, Susie. I'm Paul Kangas, wishing all of you the best of goodbyes.
Nightly Business Report is made possible by
Don't let your nest egg get away from you. Objective financial advice can help. A.G. Edwards, for 118 years, fully invested in our clients.
Franklin Templeton Investments, providing a unique perspective through the specialized investment expertise of Franklin Templeton Mutual Series and Fiduciary Trust. Franklin Templeton Investments, gain from our perspective. This program was made possible by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
Stay with OPB. The News Hour with Jim Lehrer is next.
For more information about investing, you may order Nightly Business Report's home video, The NBR Guide to Buying Bonds. This program is available in either the VHS or DVD formats.
I am PBS. Funding for local broadcast of Nightly Business Report has been provided by viewers like you and by the following. The Collins Foundation. The Collins Foundation is dedicated to improving the quality of life in Oregon.
His music excites, his lyrics allure, and his talent undeniable. From the backstreets to the boardwalks and every landmark in between, the boss is back and ready to rock. Don't miss Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band live in New York City.